Hello, happiness abounders, and welcome back. Today we are continuing our theme week all about intellectual self-care and specifically what to do if we've gotten into that mindset of yesterday's topic, which was all about the ability to learn and to grow, to step back into being a beginner and being okay with that. The next step to that is actually defining and understanding your learnings. It's one thing to be in a position and a mindset of learning and growth. It's something entirely different to be able to track that growth. And here's why that's important as part of self-care. Too often, we only see the negative things in our life, and we don't really pay attention to the positive. It's the same thing when we are learning and growing. We look at where we've been or what we have done before, and that may be good or bad, and we just judge on that. We don't judge on where we are moving forward to and how much we've learned in the process and how much we've changed in the process. So that's why I feel like this is an important part of intellectual self-care. So there's several ways to do this. You've heard me talk before about tracking and reporting. This is no different, but there's a few different ways to track and report. So first and foremost is something as simple as having routine cards and reporting on that a daily success. Something every day that you see as a success that has helped you learn and grow. Tracking that is incredibly cool, first off. It's cool to say, what were my successes today? And really that transitions back to, what did I learn today and how did I grow? And seeing that as a success. Even if it's a failure, right? Something may have happened that was problematic and could have been deemed a failure, but if you learned and grew from it, and you are able to change that mindset, suddenly that's a success, and daily success tracking can be incredibly beneficial. Plus, it's a great way to build confidence and show that you are capable of things, which totally is helpful and improves your happiness. Again, a very important part of intellectual self-care. Now, if tracking a daily success or routine cards and things like that aren't your jam, it can be as simple and as easy as journaling. And that can be in several different forms. No one says that journaling has to be written down, has to be typed or handwritten into a notebook. It can be a voice memo, but just something you're doing regularly to check back in and really identify what you are learning, how you are growing. Because when you look back at that or you listen back at that a year from now, you're like, wow, I had grown so much from before to the time I recorded that, but I've grown so much from then to now. And it can be incredibly empowering to be always looking for, what have I learned and how have I grown today? And intellectually, as that form of self-care, that is beating back those negative voices of self-talk. That is beating back those feelings of inadequacy. That beats back those feelings of imposter syndrome. Small little adjustments in our mentality, our intellectual self-care, can have a huge ripple effect on our lives. Because suddenly, when we are no longer afraid of failure, we're no longer afraid of being a beginner and starting over, but instead we're like, this is an opportunity to learn and to grow. And then we're tracking how we are able to learn and to grow. Think about how different your life would be with just those two simple changes. So another way to track, simple note in your phone. Another way to track, doing a post and a hashtag every day on your social media. There's so many options, but you have to be able to track what you are learning as a foundational and core element of intellectual self-care. Without tracking, I've changed my mindset, I'm okay being a beginner, but it doesn't quite have the sticking and staying power that we would want it to have. Because your brain doesn't have any evidence to back it up, right? I can say all day, I'm in a mindset where I want to learn to grow, and failure or starting over is not something that bothers me anymore. That's great. But can you do that day after day? Can that be sustainable? Your brain's going to come back and be like, yeah, right. Like, we've done this for a few days. It's fun, but let's go back to how things were. But with tracking and reporting, suddenly your brain is getting evidence to the contrary of what we've been believing this whole time. Evidence to the growth. And this goes back to yesterday's topic about being worried about being a beginner. If you can track your growth in doing something new, within a week, you're at a different level. It may still be a beginner level, but you're at a different level than you were 5 days ago or 7 days ago when you first started. So I hope that this idea is really connecting. This tracking and this reporting is crucial to intellectual self-care. Like I said, it beats back those negative voices. It helps us maintain our patterns and our habits. It helps us understand that we are not stagnant, that we are progressing, we are learning, and we are growing. And as we have talked and spoken about all of these forms, these different areas of self-care, it's been important to remember that something like calendaring has always been important. Setting aside that time to be able to participate in this. Now, in intellectual self-care is really interesting because setting aside that time can be as simple as I go to a class once a week, or I do my homework at this time. But if you're not into going into classes or trying courses online and things of that nature, setting aside just that 15 minutes, that few minutes a day to track what you're learning. It doesn't even have to be 15 minutes. It can take 10 seconds to say, what was something successful today? What did I learn and grow from? Write that down. That takes 10 seconds. But it builds up that inventory, that evidence in your brain that you are capable of doing new and different things, that you are not an imposter, and that you are capable and qualified and equipped to learn and to grow, which of course is the foundation of intellectual self-care. So I'm going to leave you with that today. Just like yesterday, if you are interested in intellectual self-care and you like it from the perspective of self-help, go to happinessabound.com. I do offer some online courses where it's a simple recording of me teaching a class, and you can get all the value of someone in the class asking questions that you may have asked, but you also get a 20-page resource guide. And the combination of those two is an hour or so of your time, and you can really hone in on that intellectual self-care and see those opportunities of growth and learning. So again, go to happinessabound.com, click on courses, and check that out. But in the meantime, whether it's with my courses or otherwise, I want to encourage you to go back to being okay with being a beginner, being okay with starting, and then really supplementing that and supporting that by tracking and reporting on what you are learning and how you are growing every single day. So have a wonderful day. Remember to track and report, and above everything else, remember, you are capable of happiness abound.